What's going on, everyone? So this Jonathan Kuminga Golden State Warriors situation is an absolute mess, but one of the teams that is trying to pull it off is the Phoenix Suns. Couple things, right? One, the Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga just aren't seeing eye to eye. Jonathan Kuminga believes that the Golden State Warriors are stunting his growth and are basically, he wants to be done. He wants to be gone. He wants a fresh start somewhere else. The Golden State Warriors offered him 2 years, $45 million, which he has declined. He just, again, wants to move on. Problem is the Golden State Warriors have not been happy with the offers from the Sacramento Kings as well as the Phoenix Suns. Now, Phoenix, I think, actually has put together a better package than the Sacramento Kings, although his preferred destination is the Sacramento Kings. Right? Jonathan Kuminga has been in contact with Sacramento on a potential trade, and he wants to go there. But we got reports from the Phoenix Suns that their trade after, well, not Phoenix, but Mark Spears, that Phoenix's trade package is Royce O'Neal, Nick Richards, and 4 second-round picks. Honestly, I think that's better than what Sacramento's rumored package is, which is Devin Carter, Dario Saric, and a protected first, because Nick Richards, I just think, really helps them as far as like having a center. On top of that, you get a 3-and-D kind of guard wing in Royce O'Neal, and then 4 seconds, which, I think you can equate to a protected first, depending on how protected it is. If it's like, top 2 protected or something, then yeah, probably the first is probably better. But point is that neither of these packages have really moved the Golden State Warriors, and so that's where I think the Los Angeles Lakers may be able to kind of step in. Maybe the Lakers could kind of be that middleman, be that middle team. I did a video on the Sacramento Kings. I talked in that video just briefly on Phoenix Suns and how I wanted to kind of dedicate that to a video. I wanted to keep it separated just so it wasn't some long, crazy video. But now Sacramento, I think, if they're willing to kind of cave in, could probably get them, but they don't want to give up Keon Ellis and they don't want to give up Keegan Murray. And the Golden State Warriors have zero interest in a DeMar DeRozan or a Malik Monk. So they don't want those guys. So that kind of is where the dilemma lies there. So to me, I look at the Lakers, and with either of these teams, could they maybe kind of be the middleman where they have guys in a Maxi Kleber who can make some sense, give you a guy with size that can spread the floor, right? Gabe Vincent gives you kind of that 3-and-D style guard that can be that point of attack, knock down the 3 ball. Even Dalton Knecht could be kind of just a young prospect in the deal for them. Lakers are still active in trades. They're still active in kind of trying to pull off some consolidation trades. So my point is, like, can the Lakers maybe kind of squeeze in and be that middle of the pack team that is maybe sending let's say Maxi Kleber and a Dalton Knecht to the Warriors on top of maybe a Royce O'Neal, and then the Lakers maybe are getting a Nick Richards and clearing salary, right? You get a Nick Richards and clear, $8-10 million off your books, right? You solve your backup center position, and then on top of that, you're opening up roster spots and you clear off the salary space in order to sign those guys, right? So to me, like I've talked about, I don't want to see the Lakers just do a consolidation trade just to consolidate. I want to see the Lakers get something back. And I talked about with Sacramento, you could bring in a Devin Carter. Not really my ideal favorite scenario, but if you could bring in a Royce O'Neal or a Nick Richards, ideally a Nick Richards. If you could bring in a Nick Richards, I'd love to bring him in and kind of solve your center position. And now the Lakers would just be in a better or backup center position and just be in a much better scenario and, kind of appease all parties, right? Where Dalton Knecht kind of is the odd man out. You need him to go. Maybe you could do something where he's going out, you're getting Nick Richards. Maybe you could even get one of those seconds if you play your cards right, because it's like, hey, we're the middleman. We're helping you make this happen, right? So like, what if you could get a Nick Richards in a second? Well, now you have that second that you can add to now go make a trade or something where it's like, hey, we're giving you Dalton Knecht. We want some assets in the deal. Right, so we'll send out Dalton Knecht. Maybe you could get 2 or 3 of those second round picks. Right, so that could be potentially nice. I'd really like to get Nick Richards because he's only $5 million. Right, so he's cheap enough to where you can make that move and free up the cap space. I wouldn't hate especially if you could get assets, even if it's not a consolidation trade. I wouldn't hate if you could do something where you get Nick Richards and they get Dalton Knecht, but I think that they'd like the idea of a Maxi Kleber because he's a veteran. with experience, and you've seen how like with Post, how well he's played, and they want kind of that 5 wide, especially because they already have enough non-shooters. They already have several guys that can't shoot the basketball, right? So Maxi Kleber gives them a guy that can shoot the basketball and spread the floor, right? Because you would think in concept, getting Nick Richards and Royce O'Neal would be fantastic, and you're getting picks in the deal, right? Like, you're getting a center that could literally be your starter, that could help and slot alongside Draymond Green, help rebound, block shots, be mobile, right? But you've seen that they already have enough guys that can't spread the floor, right? So that, to me, is where maybe Maxi Kleber come in, and Maxi Kleber could potentially help Post, right? Could kind of help him evolve a little further and just become a better player, particularly shooting the basketball and spreading the floor. Because, I mean, Maxi Kleber has really built a career as like that floor spacing big. So to me, I can the Lakers get creative? Like, that's my whole thing here. Right? Lakers don't have a ton of assets. They don't have this treasure trove of picks that they can go and just pony up and do things. So can you be creative and maybe be that facilitator, be that middleman? Because you have expiring contracts. You have a guy in Dalton Knecht that at this point you really need to get off of. And he's probably only going to continue to lose value. So you might as well get something for him. You ended up with like Nick Richards in like 2 seconds or something, or like a second for doing the deal, right? If that's the thing that gets the deal done, beautiful, right? Like, if Warriors are like, yeah, we'll take, Royce O'Neal, Maxi Kleber, and Dalton Knecht, that's better than what the packages that you're offering. Also, the other thing too is that Royce O'Neal has multiple years still on his deal, so that could be a big problem as to why the Warriors aren't interested in bringing him in, right? He has $10.125 million this year, then almost $11 million next year, and then $11.6 million the year after that for Royce O'Neal. I wouldn't mind bringing in Royce O'Neal, right? Like, if essentially you could, again, do Maxi Kleber and like a Dalton Knecht, right? And then, but again, are they going to want Nick Richards at that point? Like, to me, I'd try to go get Royce O'Neal, or maybe you kind of just let them keep Royce O'Neal, and maybe you're sending the players. Maybe you're sending, Dalton Knecht and Maxi Kleber. Maybe you're expanding the trade. Maybe you're adding a Gabe Vincent to get back a Royce O'Neal. Maybe Gabe, Kleber, and a Dalton Knecht is going to the Warriors, and you're getting back a Nick Richards. Again, there's several ways that you can kind of play with it. There's several ways you can kind of go about it and structure it how you want. My only concern with Royce O'Neal is just his contract it's not crazy. It's not hefty. And he is a player that would make a lot of sense for the Lakers, but the Lakers, in that cap preservation for 2027, this would dip into it. His contract is expired for a whole nother year after that. But to me, if you're Rob Pelinka, I think you at least pick up the phone and see, is there a contact point in which we can make this work? Right? Maybe it is expanding. Maybe it is going into, like I talked about with the Sacramento trade, right? Talks about DeMar DeRozan going to Miami. Miami sending Terry Rozier in 2 seconds in order to land DeMar DeRozan, right? Well, now maybe you could either work something out to where the Lakers are landing Andrew Wiggins in that trade, or you're getting assets that then now you can go and ship and send back to Miami. Like, hey, how would you like one of your seconds back plus a first and whatever, and go all in on an Andrew Wiggins? Worst case, it gives you more assets to now go and pony up to make a trade and make a move, at the trade deadline or later on this offseason. To me, again, Lakers want to do a consolidation trade. Perfect. Okay. I want the Lakers to get something back. So if you can do something where all parties involved are kind of happy, everyone's kind of getting pieces, especially the Golden State Warriors. They're like $25 million under the first apron, so they have wiggle room, so they could take back, X amount of money. Phoenix would have to place, like Sacramento, they would have to waive a guy and do all this other stuff. Phoenix can kind of line it up, right? Like I said, maybe Royce O'Neal, Maxi Kleber, and a Dalton Knecht are going to a team like the Warriors, right? And then the Lakers are, hey, let's get a second or two back in that deal because we're sending out Dalton Knecht and you're getting Nick Richards, right? But you also freed up a roster spot. You freed up cap space enough to sign actually both your now open roster spots. So to me, like, if you could turn, say, Maxi Kleber and Gabe and Dalton Knecht into even just 1 second Nick Richards and then open up a roster spot to and the cap space necessary to bring in like a DeAnthony Melton and a Chris Middleton if he gets bought out or something. Like, that's perfect, right? To me, that's an absolute home run for the Lakers, because it's like, now you got that. Even if you don't get the picks, even if you just got Nick Richards, open up a roster spot, free up cap space, it's like now you ended up bringing Nick Richards in. Like, to me, that's great use of your assets. You're kind of taking advantage of a situation that you might not have been able to get otherwise, right? Like a trade straight up for Nick Richards, they might have wanted Dalton Knecht and then some. But because they're not trading directly to you, they're trading to the Warriors, they're getting their guy from the Warriors. They don't care. Like, hey, wherever Nick Richards goes, right? We just want to get our guy, which is Jonathan Kuminga. So those Suns get their guy, Warriors get what they want, and the Lakers get a guy that really could help and kind of upgrade and elevate. And he's a free agent, so if it doesn't work, you can just let him walk. If it does work, give him a new contract, give him a new deal. He's still young enough to be a piece for the long term. Also gives you some, insurance in case Ayton ends up leaving in the offseason or something like that, because it's something I've talked about, right? Lakers could be right back in the center position where we're at, or if the Ayton thing just doesn't work out, right? Lakers could be right back in the same situation. So I think that this is something that could potentially benefit kind of all parties involved. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? I feel what your thoughts. You love the idea, hate the idea, kind of mixed in the middle. Would you want Nick Richards, Royce O'Neal? Would you try to get both and maybe send out some things? Would you, maybe give up a first if you could land both type thing? However you feel either way, I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me not. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.